It's Stan, my name is Mod, and we are back again for another 2 p.m. show. How is everyone doing? It's international break. International break, what a fun time. I know everyone loves seeing England beat Andorra 5-0. What an amazing game. But how is everyone doing? How's everyone feeling about football in general? I mean, we've been able to take a little bit of a break from watching, United and club football and, have a bit of time to digest how the start of the season's gone. So, look, my first thing that I actually want to talk to you guys about is now that we've been able to, like I said, spend a little bit of time, a week or so, looking back and thinking about how the start of the season's actually gone. Let me know in the chat right now, what are your opinions? Straight away, what are your opinions so far on how you think the season has actually gone? Because a lot of people that I know personally have kind of almost changed their mind a little bit because, let's be honest, when we're playing certain games, when we're losing certain games and we're having difficulties in winning, there's a lot of emotions attached to it. A lot of people say a lot of things and you get a bit high rate because naturally you're in the moment and you feel a bit more, like I said, passionate about what's going on. But now, like I said, we've got a little bit more time to think about it. Let me know straight away in the comments, what are your thoughts based on the start of the season and how it's gone? And that's based on everything. Amorim, certain players, new signings, whatever, because I'm going to go through a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things I want to talk about in regards to, first of all, big game coming up this weekend. Big game. In so many different ways, it's a big game because, one, naturally it's a derby. I mean, being from Manchester myself, and in fact, you don't even have to be from Manchester. Just being a United fan, it's a big game for all of us. And I'm from City as well, City fans. So, big game in that respect. But also, for both managers, it's a game that you both of them really want to win. Pep, he really wants to win that because, let's be honest, I've been very critical of Pep over the last year or so. This is a game where, if he loses again, bear in mind, look, I looked at the stats before. City haven't beat United in the past 4 games. Now, look, as a United fan, it hurts to say this, but they've had our number for a long time. They've been able to beat us a lot in previous years. But the last 4 games, they haven't actually been able to beat us. So the last time they did beat us was in 2024, early 2024. So for Pep, it's like, what's going on, Pep? You know what I mean? Can you not? Are these games a bit too big for you now? Can you not get your team over the line? So it's a big game for Pep in that respect, but also for Amorim. Come on, we need another win. Every game is a must-win, in my opinion. Not a must-win, but in the sense of we need to play well. Like every game is a game where I need to see some kind of positive football. I can't watch United struggle game after game. Again like we did last season. Every single game now is, Amorim, you need to prove yourself. You need to show what you can do. You need to show what the team can do. And it's the same for the players. They're not getting off scot-free. Every game, these players need to perform and show what they're capable of doing. But like I said, let me know what you guys are saying in the chat. In fact, there's one thing that actually somebody said early on. I'm going to try and find it because I thought it was an interesting comment. It was based on Sesko. Let me see if I can find it. But basically, someone said something about whether or not Sesko should start, and this is kind of what I want to go into. I want to touch on this Man City game. I'm going to kind of preview it a little bit and give my opinions because I've not been on a show since I think the last game pretty much. Or what was the last game we played? The Brentford game. Since then, or deadline day, so I really want to give my opinion and hear your opinion also on everything that's going on over the last week or so, and also the City game, the City preview. But the thing that somebody brought up was about Sesko and it's about whether or not he starts. Now I think this is a really interesting conversation because from that Brentford game, and I don't want to be too overreactive. I don't want to overreact too much about the decisions that Amorim made. Because at the end of the day, we did win the game, and that was the most important thing. But in my opinion, watching Sesko jump up, I think it was Mount who got injured or Cunha, one of the two. And Amorim must have called about 3 or 4 players to jump on the sideline and get warmed up in stretches, etc. I think Xerxes was on the sideline, Mainoo was on the side, Sesko was there, and maybe one other player. And in my head, I was obviously at the game and I was watching, I was thinking, surely this is the time for him to bring on Sesko. Like, surely he's going to bring on his brand new shiny toy, this striker that's cost, 80 or so million pounds, around that. The play that's supposed to get us the goals. And I think at that moment in the game, we did need goals. It wasn't a case of we were clear, 2-3-0 up. That wasn't the case in the game. We needed some goals to kind of get us over the line. You would have thought to yourself, okay, this is the time to bring on Sesko. And I think Amorim came out after the game and said, because of injuries or he had a knock or he's a bit tired or whatever it was, that's why he didn't bring him on. But there was a bit of a conversation there as to is Sesko in Amorim's favourite 11 right now? And I think it's interesting between favourite and best because we've seen managers, not even just Amorim, but previous managers pick their favourite 11, whereas the best 11 that could possibly go out isn't the team that they picked. We saw Ten Hag do it with Ahmad. Ahmad. Ahmad was definitely in Ten Hag's best 11. He never played him. You know what I'm saying? He'd rather just play his favourite 11, the players that he wants to play, rather than playing a player who, in my opinion, easily walked into that team. And I feel like Amorim, in a sense, he's doing that again. He's picking his favourite 11, the players that he prefers to pick, whereas there might be some players where, in my opinion, it's like, this player should be in your best 11. Sesko should be in Amorim's best 11. You don't spend £80 million on a player for him to just be rotational, for him to just be a sideline player, considering we don't actually have a striker and we do need goals. Sesko should be in his best 11, but from what I've seen, this is my opinion. We're doing opinionated stories today. We're doing opinionated conversation today. In my opinion, I don't think Sesko is in Amorim's favourite 11. I think if Amorim had it, if Amorim was able to just pick an 11 of who he personally wants, I think he's picking Mount over him. I think he's picking Cunha over him. I think he's picking Mbeumo over him. And also the fact that he put on Xerxes before Sesko, in a way, I genuinely feel like if it came down to it and he needed to put on one player and it was Xerxes or Sesko right now, I think he's picking Xerxes over him as well. And I think that's an interesting conversation because when we spoke to Ben Jacobs on deadline day, and I asked him a question, I said, which signings were Amorim signings and which signings was, let's just say, United signings? I'm talking about like the board, Wilcox and all those guys. Which guys were their choice and which guys was Amorim's choice? And he said, Amorim's, first choice when it comes to signings is more experience. He naturally, because he knows he doesn't have 3 years in the job right now. That's something that he has to earn. We don't even know if he's got a whole nother year. But a lot of people say if results kind of don't pick up by the end of this season, he might not be here by next season. So he knows that time's ticking. This might be his last season if things don't actually pick up. So for Amorim, he wants experience. He wants players that he knows he can trust and actually go out there and he's seen them do it at high levels. And he has that confidence that they can do it right now. Sesko, let's be honest, he's not that player. He's still very young. He's not done it in the Premier League. He's not done it necessarily at the highest level for a sustained period of time. So Sesko necessarily wasn't an Amorim player. He was more a player that the United board looked at and thought, this is a project that we should buy into now before it's too late, and let's get him over the line and hopefully he can develop over years. So just looking at it from my point of view, it almost feels like Sesko isn't necessarily a favourite player for Amorim, and he might look at the team and think, you know what, if I want to get what I want to do, it's in terms of the football that I want to play and the football that I think is going to win the most games, I think, like I said, he's looking at Mount before him. He's looking at Mbeumo, Cunha, maybe even Xerxes above him in those positions. But let me know, what are your opinions on that? What do you think in terms of Amorim's favourite players and in terms of what his opinions are on Sesko? Because it was someone's comment that I saw in the chat and they kind of alluded to it about whether or not Sesko should start or whether he will start, and based on whether Amorim prefers it or not. But let's send your super chats as well so I can read out all your super chats and let me know exactly what you think, and we can discuss those topics. But there was a super chat here from Dominic John Paul. Sesko's a new player. You don't expect him to get into the manager's favourite 11 immediately. Amorim wanted Oli and Dibu, well, obviously Martinez, over Sesko and Lammens. Yeah, I mean, look, I agree. I think he probably did want Oli Watkins and Martinez based on that experience, like I said before. But I just think it's interesting that because especially the way we play, because one of the things that I want to talk about later in the show is the way how we would play with Sesko would be very different. Well, it would be a little bit different compared to the way we would play if we were playing, like I said, a Mount or a Cunha in that false nine, because naturally you're going to want to feed Sesko higher up the pitch. Whereas with Mount and Cunha, they're going to want to get the ball a bit deeper, in the pitch to actually create for, let's say, an Mbeumo or whoever is the furthest player forward, if it's an Ahmad or whatnot. It's going to be a different style of play. And I think with certain managers, like I said, with someone like Amorim, he has a very particular style of play, a very particular way how he wants to play. And we all know that. We know Amorim is I'm going to use the word stubborn, but sometimes being stubborn isn't even a bad thing. You know, we want a manager to kind of come in and almost have an identity and almost stick with it in a sense. But with the way we like to play, it kind of seems like he would rather have a striker kind of drop in deep, play on Bumo down, you know, like going forward, or Amar, like I said, whoever it is furthest up the pitch, kind of have a false nine, kind of play that kind of role. Whereas if you did have a Sesko, it does change the way you play a little bit, because Sesko would have to be that player who would have to be, you know, the target man almost, the player who's in the box pretty much most of the time, the player you're crossing the ball in most of the time. And in my opinion, I think that works. Like, I think that works. I like Sesko playing that role because that is his job. That's what he's been able to do for the last however many years of you know, he's been playing top flight football for a few years now. That's what he's been able to do, and that's how he's been able to get his goals. So I think that should work, and that should work for United. But I just think it'll be interesting to see where Amorim goes, especially in this derby, in terms of how he plays and also who he plays. Now, let's be honest, the fact that Mount and Cunha are both injured, he's going to have to play Sesko. He's going to have to. We can't, I mean, I don't know who we'd even replace them both with, but we've only really got a few options on the bench to kind of replace those players with. But I think he would have to kind of play Sesko. But I think it'll be interesting to see how well we truly do play with Sesko on the pitch, and that different style of play that Amorim would have to bring into the team. But look, moving on though, I want to kind of touch a little bit also on the City game. One thing that I do want to say is, look, here's 3 things in my opinion, 3 things that I want to see. Now, a lot of you guys know that I'm critical of Amorim, and I'm open, I'm not, you know, hiding from it. I'm not going to lead no Amorim out campaign. That's never really been my thing. I'm not trying to do all that. But I think we have to have honest conversations about United. We're all United fans, I'm hoping anyway, unless there's some rival fans watching the show. But we're all United fans. We have to be critical and honest, you know, constructive criticism and being honest about our own team, or else, you know, what's the point in us even being fans of the club? So here's 3 things, in my opinion, that I want to see from Amorim in that City game. So the first thing that I want to see is, one, and it leads back to kind of what I was saying before, I want to see a lot of chances created for Sesko. And the reason why I'm pointing out Sesko in particular is because, like I said, I do think he is going to play. And the kind of player that he is, he's going to need those chances. I don't even want to see Sesko having to run back and just pick up the ball just because he's not getting any touches. No, I don't want no cases of, you know, when it was happening to Højlund and everyone was given the excuse of he's not getting chances and they're not supplying him the ball and they're not crossing the ball in. I don't want to hear any of that. I genuinely, I don't want to hear them excuses anymore. We've been saying that for a long time now. I don't want to hear none of that. If Sesko is going to play, which I think he will, I want to see the players around him provide him with chances. And that's something that we actually do. I don't have the stats up right here, but I think in terms of like XG and in terms of chances created so far this season and, you know, passes in the final third and all that kind of stuff, United are pretty high up there so far in this season. So I want to see that happen with Sesko's on the pitch, and hopefully he can get off the mark, because at the end of the day, Sesko, you know, getting off the mark and firing is going to help us so much. It's going to help us so much. I don't think people understand that. If Sesko can get into the rhythm of getting goals and he can get that confidence up and he's playing at full capacity and he's able to even develop each game, we're going to look like a 10 times better team. We're going to look so much more polished. We're going to look so much more threatening going forward if we can get Sesko off the mark and firing. And that is something that I feel like in this City game, and I know it's going to be a difficult game anyway, because naturally it's a derby, we're playing against City. But if we can get him to do that in a City game, in a big game, everyone's watching Sunday, you know what I'm saying, big, you know, one of those, it's a game that everyone's going to be, you know, tuning into to see what's going on and how everyone's playing. If we can get Sesko to fire in that game and get a goal, it's going to help us so much more going forward in the season. So the first thing I want to see is I want to see a lot of chances created for Sesko. The second thing I want to see, and this is, I think, is a super important thing as well, I want to see a brave tactical approach. Brave tactical approach. I don't want to see no, let's just sit back, let's put our most defensive players on the pitch and let's just soak up loads of pressure and just hope that we can hit him on a counter-attack at some point in the game. I don't want to see that. I genuinely, I feel like that is the worst approach that we can take. I remember the Arsenal game. It was just the first game of the season, a lot of pressure on the line, you know, a lot of people, obviously, like I said, a lot of people watching the game. And there was a lot of conversations based on how should we approach this game. Should we take the game to Arsenal, seeing as we're at home, we're at Old Trafford? Should we take it to Arsenal? Should we be the more offensive team? Should we try and hold a possession? Or should we accept the fact that Arsenal are the better team and kind of just soak up loads of pressure and hit them in a counter-attack? And my thought process was always we should never do that. Especially at the point that we're at right now, we should never just play against Arsenal and think, oh, they're a better team than us. Let's just hope that they don't concede and just defend for most of the game and then just try and hit them on some little Mbumo counter-attack. No. We should go to that game with the mindset of we can beat Arsenal if we play our game. And I think that's the mentality that we should go forward in, especially because we did do that against Arsenal and it did actually work. We had more possession, we created more chances. Probably should have got a goal. It was a bit unlucky, some of the chances that we weren't able to convert. But we saw positives. We saw what we were capable of doing against a very, very good team. We should do the same thing against Man City, in my opinion. We should always go into these big games with the mentality of we are capable of taking this game to Man City and actually winning. Don't set up with 5 defensive players who are all going to sit back and just soak up pressure. Because at the end of the day, look, Haaland just scored 5 goals in one game. Haaland just scored 5 goals in one game. You don't think he's going to be itching to score again this game? If we allow City to just give him the ball as much as they can and create as many chances as they can for him, I promise you that guy will score. He's dying for it. He's dying to get as many goals as he can this season. So if we just allow City to just do that, I promise you they will get goals. They will. Even though they've got a bunch of injuries, they're going to get goals if we allow them to do that. So we have to go and take a brave tactical approach to Man City and take the game to them. Don't be scared of them. We're United. We should be able to go. Let me not say that actually because I don't want to get jinxed or anything like that. But look, we're able to take a strong foot in these kind of games and get a result. The third thing that I think Man United should take into this derby, and this is more based on Amorim, is big decisions. How can I phrase this? Amorim needs to be able to make big decisions at the right times. Now, the reason why I say that is, one thing I felt with Amorim is there's times where I feel like he should have made a big decision, but in the back of his mind, he's almost thinking, if I make this big decision and it doesn't work out, people might look at me, not look at him differently, but he's going to get a lot more criticism for making that decision. Whereas if he had made that decision at the right time, it could have completely changed the game. And I feel like in-game decisions is something that the elite managers are able to do the best. You know, we've seen the biggest managers play in the biggest games and make huge decisions, taking off big players, bringing on certain players that can change games. These are the kind of decisions that kind of separate, I'd say, good managers from, like I said, the elite managers, because they're able to make those big choices, and obviously it pay off. In a game against Man City, now, hopefully we don't have to, have any, big decisions that need to be made. But if we're in a game and it's a case of we might be 1-0 down and we're searching for a goal, or we might even be 1-0 up or 2-0 up and we're kind of trying to defend and we're trying to ease the game out, make the right big decision at the right time. And hopefully, we don't know what's going to happen in the game. I can't see in the future, but hopefully it does pay off. And to me, that will show a lot more and give me a little bit more confidence as well into the fact that, okay, Amorim can make these big choices and he isn't afraid to, upset certain players or go against his favourite players or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. He isn't afraid to do that in these kind of moments, and he has got the bravery to do that in those tough situations, and it actually pay off. So that's for me the 3 main things that I want to see in the City game. I want to see Amorim actually go out there and be a bit more confident in what needs to be done. Yeah, that's what I really want to see from Amorim. But another super chat in here from. Let me know what you think about those 3 things, and also any other things that you feel like Amorim, not even just Amorim, but 3 things that you want to see from United in this derby. Big game, like I said. A really big win if we can get it over the line as well. But let me know, what do you want to see against Man City in this derby? But yeah, super chat in here from Callum Watson. He says, McTominay have a buyback. Big mistake in losing him. Definitely not have a buyback, and he's definitely not going to want to come back anyway. Let's be honest. McTominay is living life. He's in the Ballon d'Or list. Like he's literally in the Ballon d'Or list. He's just won the Scudetto with Napoli. He won the MVP in Serie A. He's living life in Italy, Napoli, just smoking cigars and just living a very comfortable life. Like, he probably never thought this would have happened to him a year, or let me not say a year, like, let's say 2 years ago. He would have never thought his life would be at this point, and now he's enjoying life. So you know what? I'm actually just happy for him. I don't even, in a way, I don't even want him to come back, because I'd rather just see him enjoying football and playing at the peak of his career. I'd rather see him do that than instead of, dragging him back to United and almost asking him to save us in a way, saying, oh, let's get McTominay back to fix the midfield. Nah, just let him live life. Let him enjoy the football he's playing. I like seeing academy players actually thrive, and actually do well, whether it's at United or at another club. I like seeing our academy players do well wherever it is. So, look, in a way, I actually don't want to buy him back for that reason. Yes, you can say it's a big mistake, but that's hindsight talking. Let's be honest. In that moment in time, 2 years ago, you might not have said the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't mind McTominay being at Napoli. I'm cool with it. In fact, I'm actually happy for him, like I said. But look, little cross promotion, very, very important cross promotion. That's football. A lot of you guys probably know about it already, but for those who don't know about it, That's Football is another channel from Mark, and it's just football in general. All kinds of football, whether it's Premier League, other leagues, but the most important one is the Bundesliga, because the Bundesliga has actually given That's Football rights to show their games. Genuinely, from a creator standpoint, and from someone who does, online stuff and, YouTube, the fact that Bundesliga is allowing or giving accessibility to creators and channels to be able to show a live game, it is crazy. Some people might not understand how mad it is, but trust me, it almost doesn't even make sense. It's like one in a million. It's like something that has never happened, and going forward it'll probably happen a lot more. But the fact that That's Football is one of the pioneers now going forward in showing live football games from the Bundesliga, it is a huge thing. So on Friday, 7:15 p.m, another game. It's Leverkusen versus Frankfurt, and Mark will be doing a watch along showing the live game on That's Football. So make sure you subscribe for that channel so you don't miss out. And yeah, make sure you check it out. 7:15 on Friday, That's Football, Leverkusen versus Frankfurt. But also on Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. Early kickoff, Arsenal versus Forest. Mark will be doing a watch along for that game as well. So make sure you're checking that out. And obviously on Sunday, the big game, the big derby, Man United versus City on the United stand. Mark will be doing another watch along. So make sure you write those down. Write it in your diary, write it on your phone, your calendar, Google Calendar, whatever it is. Write them down so you don't forget. Make sure you're checking out all those watch alongs. But anyway, look, moving on. I do also want to talk a little bit about the games that are coming up. So there are some difficult games coming up, let's be honest. Some difficult games. Now, the next 5 games for United, let me read these out. I've got them written down here. The next 5 games for United are City, Chelsea, Brentford, Sunderland, and Liverpool. Now, I wrote down, and again, I want you guys to get interactive in this. I wrote down, what are the bare minimums that I want to see from these 5 games? Because I don't want to put too much expectations. We have to win 4 out of the 5 games. That's just not realistic, let's be honest. I really want to touch on what are the bare minimums that I want to see, that I'm not seeing already, that I want to see from not just Amorim, but the team in general from these next 5 games. So the first thing is in terms of points in these next 5 games. For me, the bare minimum, and this is me being kind, I want to see. I wrote down 8, but I'm gonna bring it down to 7. I'm gonna bring it down to 7 points. For me, the bare minimum that I want to see from these 5 games is 7 out of 15 points. Now, we could go and do 12. We could do whatever. We could get 15 out of 15 points. But for me, the bare minimum is 7 points. And the reason why I say that is, I think Sunderland won. We have to beat them. Newly promoted team, not been in the Premier League for a very, very long time. Yes, they've made good signings, and they've not had the worst start of the season in terms of how they're actually playing. But we should go out and beat Sunderland. Brentford, another game that, again, we took their best player. We literally took their best player, and they even lost probably another 2 of their other best players to other teams. Again, they're not a terrible team, but then they did absolutely destroy us last season. I remember they were beating us 4-0 at like half time or something like that. But we should be going out there and getting a win. So for me, those are the 2 games that I want to see 3 points. Now, out of the other 3 games, the Liverpool, the Chelsea, and the City game, For me as a United fan, I want to see 4 to 6 points. I want to see 4 to 6 points, but the bare minimum I think is at least one draw. At least one draw. We can't lose all 3 of those games. At least one draw, and I'm hoping, like I said, as a United fan, I want to win at least 1 or 2 of those 3 games. The Liverpool away game is going to be very, 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 very difficult, especially because it's at Anfield. But Chelsea and City, I want to see a draw or a win, in my opinion. That's what I want to see. That's my bare minimum right there. I think 7 points from 15 is like I said, the bare minimum. Let me know what you guys think in terms of points wise. What do you think we should be doing out of those next 5 games? I know, yes, the standards for United has gone down because, let's say, it was a number of years ago, I'll be looking at that thinking, yeah, we can beat City, we can beat Chelsea, we can get a point, or we can even win against Liverpool. That's what I would have been saying. But let's be honest, where we're at right now, we have to be honest. What's the bare minimum of what we should be doing there? So look, my next bare minimum that I want to see, and people are going to say I'm being super critical, but the fact that we haven't done this yet is embarrassing. We need to win 2 games in a row. Like, we haven't won 2 Premier League games in a row yet. And I think the fact that I'm even saying that, it even hurts my chest. Like, I'm getting, my heart's beating a little bit faster, the fact that I'm even saying this. But the fact that we haven't won 2 Premier League games in a row yet on the Amorim is a serious problem. Like, and that is bare minimum. That's probably the most bare minimum that I could even bring, if I'm being honest. But out of these next 5 games, we need to win 2 games in a row. Whether it's Brentford and Sunderland, which is a very good time to do that, or whether it's Chelsea, Brentford, or even if it's City, Chelsea, let's go and please just get 2 games in a row, and then we can at least advance from there. But look, like I said, hopefully it's City and Chelsea. That'd be amazing, because then we could even go win 4 games in a row, and all of a sudden, the Liverpool game, we got United Strand in the studio. We got United Strand in the studio, and it's like we've almost won 5 games in a row. He can cut his hair, but 2 games in a row. 2 games in a row, United. Let's try and do that. That's another bare minimum. Now, the next one I want to talk about actually is, and this one I actually having a conversation today with one of my friends, a United fan, and he was saying that the bare minimum that he actually wants to see, and I thought I'd just write it down anyway, is he wants to see United score. And I agree with this. I'm going to say me, actually. I want to see United score multiple goals in a game that are well-worked goals. I want to see multiple goals scored in a game that are well-worked, well-oiled goals. And what I mean by well-oiled is I want to see the style of football that we're playing convert into goals. And I don't just mean one goal. I want to see multiple goals. And the reason why I say that is before the season started, one of my predictions was that I think United are going to win. I still think United are going to win quite a few games. But one of the predictions I actually had was, I think individual brilliance is going to carry us a lot this season. And we saw it multiple times in Ten Hag years. We saw it under even Ollie as well. A lot of individual brilliance, even like Mainoo as well. A lot of individual players kind of carried us in multiple games. Even last season, I know we lost a lot of games, but if it wasn't for certain Bruno performances, if it wasn't for who else had great games, Mount had a couple of good games at the end of the season. A lot of individual players kind of saved us a lot in certain games. But for me now, what I really want to see is United able to score multiple goals, but it be well-worked goals. I don't just want to see Mbeumo do something great and, score an amazing individual goal, or Bruno score an amazing individual goal, or even Ahmad or whoever it is. I mean, last time we beat City, even though we did play well, in my opinion, we only won the game because Ahmad somehow managed to just that was what a goal it was, by the way. I know you guys remember it, where he's kind of flicked it over Edison, and he's got that he's kind of had to slice it in from like a very, very weird angle, and it just about got it into the net. But I really want to see us win these kind of games, but because we've been the better team, and the style of football that we're playing has actually worked out and resulted in us getting very, very good goals. And I think at that point, if we can do that over a number of games, it will give a lot more confidence in me and probably a lot of other United fans that we're able to actually go and win games comfortably. You know what I mean? And that to me is super, super important in terms of what I want to see over these next 5 games. And another thing that I want to touch on, and this is going to lead into the next conversation I'm going to bring in, is about the goalkeeper. Now, Look, if you ask me right now, which goalkeeper do I want to start? I'd have to say Lammens. I'd have to say Lammens. And we all know Onana's, he's just gone out on loan to, I can't even pronounce the name of the team. So I'm just going to say a Turkish team. But I can't pronounce him, Trans something. Onana's gone out on loan to them. Great for him, you know, happy for him. Go and get some minutes, because he's probably not going to get that many minutes at United. The World Cup's coming up next year. I don't know if Cameroon are in the World Cup, but I'm sure he wants to play a lot of football. But Onana, go out and enjoy your football. Be the guy you want to be over there, just not at United. But for me, what I want to see over the next 5 games is a consistent run of good performances from our goalkeeper. That is honestly, and that's one thing that it's mad to say that I'm crying out for this. But let's be honest, we haven't seen that in a very long time. We haven't seen a goalkeeper at United have, I'd say, even 5 games of just good performances. Like I said, it's something that it should be a bare minimum, because most other teams can say, yeah, we've got our goalkeeper, and even if they're not the best goalkeeper, at least they're putting in average performances. Our goalkeepers are putting in poor performances every single game. Every single game. And that's why I said, for me, if I was to pick a goalkeeper, it'd have to be Lammens, because I just don't have that much confidence in Bayindir, let's be honest. I don't think a lot of people do. But what I really want to see over these next 5 games is I don't even need to see an amazing man of the match performance, prime De Gea. I don't need to see that. I'm not even asking for that. This is a bare minimum, by the way. This is bare minimum. I just want to see a consistent, good performance from our goalkeeper over the next 5 games. And that, to me, will give me a little bit more confidence in our defence, you know, in terms of us conceding goals, but also just in that goalkeeper position. I can stop worrying. I can stop worrying about what's going to happen. So for me, Lammens, if you're ready, please just start. Or Amorim, let him start, let him play. You know what I mean? And let's just get that over the line. Let's just get a good goalkeeper in who's confident and can put in these good performances, like I said, over the next 5 games. But look, that is the 5 things that's the things that I want to see, the bare minimums for over the next 5 games. But that's it. That's the end of the show. I mean, I'll be honest, I kind of just want to come in here and just give my opinion on a lot of stuff, because there's a lot of things I really want to talk about. And I'll be reading through the reading through the chats and kind of reading what you guys have to say as well. There's a lot of opinions on United coming into leading out of this international break, going into the first game back against Man City. And there's a lot of stuff that I think a lot of people are going to be looking for in these next games. Quick super chat here from Cal Robinson. 5 out of 5 wins, pump it up. I mean, let's do it. If we can get 5 out of 5, let's be honest, we will all be very, very happy. I'll be a very happy man. You might see me do a backflip on the fan forum. I can't even do one, but if we win 5 games, I'll do a backflip on the fan forum. How about that? Yeah, how about that? But let's get the 5 out of 5 wins. Let's do it. Let's get the spirit up. Let's be a more positive fan base. Let's try and go forward and get some wins. Let's be a dominant force in the Premier League once again. Let's bring back the old United. Come on, let's do it. But look, that's the end of the show. What I want to promote quickly is tomorrow, Ben Jacobs will be on the United stand with Beth, 2 p.m. Write it down in your diary, write it in your calendar, wherever if you need to write on your wall, write on your wall. But at 2 p.m, Ben Jacobs will be here with Beth on the United stand, and he's going to talk a bunch about, you know, the City game and a whole bunch of other stuff that's going on in the window. So yeah, make sure you check it out, the United stand, for that. But yeah, that's it. That's the end of the show. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next one.